Alright, here we go, people. Why do I use Prime? Okay? Um, the basic premise of Prime is it detoxifies only temporarily, it does not last. It's a simple band aid on a bigger problem, but we'll visit the term again. Alright, let's just say you got regular chlorine, right? Water needs to sit around for a minimum of 24 hours to dechlorinate. I'm going to differ. It actually takes about 5 days eventually if you don't have it covered to evaporate completely. So if you're adding, water to your tank, you're going to need tank conditioners, okay? Um, it's really that simple. Um, and a lot of it kind of continues. But anyway, you can kind of read the thing there. But here's chloramine is a different story than chloramine or chlorine. Sorry, chlorine, chloramine. Um, some of your bigger cities will use chloramine versus chloramine or chlorine. Oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm saying that right. But anyway, the big thing about Prime, what they advertise detoxification or detoxifies. What does that mean? It doesn't mean a whole lot. I'll be honest with you. It means in about 24 hours, the things that it did supposedly detoxify, it's going to come back after about 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. Um, I've been in touch with the company, and I got some responses, and you'll see them kind of below. Um, but it, it's a band-aid. So in other words, if you have high ammonia, high nitrates, high nitrites, and you're trying to treat this little Prime, oh my googly muggly, you're probably going to do this for 3-4 weeks, because the problem is, and we'll get down to it. Um, and look there. Keep in mind, they will, if you treat these, if you do most tests, there's a couple tests out there that you can get, but like your normal master kit tests and blah blah blah, it's still going to show up on those tests. Why? Because just because they're in quote unquote invisible, detoxified, it doesn't mean it won't show up on a test. Now, your fish and this and that might not register it, but it's still going to show up on the test. So, really, you've got to work on fully cycled tanks, people. All right, it's really not a cure. It's an emergency thing. Really, Prime is meant for removing chloramine or chlorine and chloramines. That's really the reason. But it's a good backup emergency. Okay. Um. Now, while you can do evaporation of water, let's say that you get a 33-gallon garbage can or whatever else, as long as you don't have chloramines, all right. If you have chlorine, usually 24 hours kind of evaporates it, but usually you need about 4 or 5 days, to be completely certain that it evaporates over time. The more water you got, the longer it's going to take to evaporate, obviously. Um, but you got to make sure you don't have chloramines, okay? If you don't have any idea what your water supply system is, uh, use Prime, man. It removes both. And I'm a big thing on Prime. You're going to say, Scott, why don't you, you know, talk about these other products that do the same thing? Because I don't want to. I never have had to. Prime is the end all cure all. Plus, it does more things, okay? Um, but always be careful if you think you're only using chlorine. sometimes the bigger cities, man, will flush systems and throw new chemicals down there. And I've heard this many times. Um, I only did a water change yesterday. I did the same treatment I always do with Prime, or not Prime, but with whatever, and all my fish are dead. Okay. Now this is, oops. Oh no. Oh no. All right. This is straight from the Prime website themselves. I am using Prime to control ammonia, but my test kit says it's not doing anything. It looks like it added ammonia. What's going on? Okay, this explains it all. Again, what I said. Apparently, a Nestler-based kit will not read ammonia properly. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that's your API kit. I don't know if it's your Tetra strips. I don't know, whatever. Um, but you will definitely get false readings. But again, let's keep in mind, Prime is not meant to control ammonia. You know, well, Scott, it says it detoxifies it. Yeah, well, it detoxifies a crap load of things. But it doesn't matter, okay? It really doesn't matter because, again, you're putting a band-aid on a product. Just learn to, everybody, just learn to, oh, have patience, man. Cycle your freaking tanks, all right? If you can, just cycle them. But I'm going to let you read all that there. There is no chemical on this market, okay, none. And I'm telling you, I've sold a bunch of them. And I don't care if you're talking about Dr. Tim's, uh, you know, all be all. I don't care if you're feeding Prime. I don't care if you're doing, you know, any other thing out there. If you're trying to skip the process, honestly, honestly, of trying to skip the entire process uh, of everything, you're never going to do it, Dr. Tim's fresh water start, and I sold a crap load of that. And I don't really, honestly, believe it works very well. I wouldn't use it. Your best start ever, and this is my opinion, okay, is simply you start one tank, you do it right, okay? You do the ammonia official cycle, all right? Don't put fish in there. Do official cycle and do it right. I've got tons of videos on there. There's thousands of videos out there how to do official cycle. Let it go for 4 to 6 weeks. Well, I don't want to wait that long. Well, fine. Your fish are going to die. All right? For the most part. You're going to throw a bunch of fish in the tank. Well, I just got, 20 tetras and threw them in a 10-gallon tank I've had for 2 days. They're going to die. It's that simple. But anyway, if you start official cycle, blah, 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 and some of you are going to start a fish cycle anyway and then graduate your way up, what you do before you get your next tank, you get a sponge filter and or pantyhose or anything, pantyhose with, I don't know, charcoal in it. You stick that in an aquarium. You stick a sponge filter in an aquarium. You stick whatever in an aquarium. The next time you start your next aquarium, it's almost an instant cycle. Okay? You've got to do whatever. If you want to keep doing broken band-aids, and Prime's kind of expensive, people. I see on my forums all the time. I just started this tank and everything's dying, but my guppy gave birth, and then I'm like, your guppy gave birth because it's a primal instinct. If they're going to die, they want to have their spawn try to live, and the odds are their spawn are not going to live. Okay? Alright, so I'm done here. And you can Ghost Prime all day long till you're blue. You know, I just really, it's great for, you know, you know, the two things it's great for. It's not really great for anything else. So, alright, later.